Good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be in the GTA. And first, I'd like to thank Anna Roberts, who is here today, and all our great candidates as our campaign to help Canadians get ahead continues. So far, we've spread a positive, hopeful message about what a new Conservative government will do to put more money in your pockets so you can get ahead. But we can't talk about affordability and helping Canadians get ahead without addressing the cost of housing. And sadly, under Justin Trudeau, the dream of home ownership has gotten further out of reach for too many Canadians. There is truly no place like home. It's where memories are made, bringing your first child home from the hospital, road hockey tournaments on the driveway, and important conversations around the dinner table. It's where friends and family come together, and where you find love and rest after a long day at work. Across the country, Canadians work hard and save their money so that they can one day own a home, to build a life, to start a family, and to save for the future. For millions of Canadians, their home is the largest investment they will ever make. Today, owning a home is more difficult and expensive than ever before. In communities across the country, both urban and rural, the cost of living is so high that it's become almost impossible to save for a down payment. Aujourd'hui, être propriétaire d'une maison est plus difficile et plus coûte cher que jamais. Dans des communautés partout au pays, urbaines et rurales, le coût de la vie est si élevé qu'il est presque impossible d'économiser pour une mise de fonds, especially in communities right here in the GTA. You're working so hard, but you're not able to save money. Now, many aspiring homeowners are not even thinking about mortgages and down payments because the cost of living is so high. And Justin Trudeau isn't helping. In 2015, Trudeau said he would help you. He said he would be different. Instead, under the Trudeau Liberals, the dream of home ownership has gotten even further out of reach. He's raised your taxes and imposed a carbon tax. He's hurt your bottom line and made it that much harder to save for a down payment. And because of his stress test, it's more difficult to qualify for a mortgage. And because his latest initiative has so many hoops to jump through, so many terms and conditions, you and almost all the Canadians it's supposed to help don't even qualify. When it comes to making homeownership more affordable, once again, Justin Trudeau is simply not as advertised. Now, Conservatives believe that when you work hard, save, and invest in your future, the government should help you, not stand in your way. And as Prime Minister, I will make sure that a new Conservative government helps you get ahead. I'm proud to announce today a 4-point plan to help put homeownership within the reach for more Canadians. First, a new Conservative government will fix the stress test to make sure first-time homebuyers can get access to a mortgage. Many experts agree that the stress test has gone too far and has many unintended negative consequences, pricing many would-be homeowners out of the market. We will review it to make sure it isn't a barrier. And because the stress test doesn't just stand in the way of first-time homebuyers, we will work with the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions to remove the stress test from mortgage renewals. Second, for our first-time homebuyers, we will increase maximum amortization periods on insured mortgages to 30 years. Longer amortization periods mean lower mortgage payments and put more money saved to be put towards student debt, family, monthly bills, and retirement. Third, we will launch an inquiry into money laundering in the real estate sector and work with our industry partners to root out corrupt practices. These shady dealings are inflating prices in already expensive markets, such as here in the GTA and in Vancouver, and they must come to an end. And finally, we will make surplus federal real estate available for housing development. We will review the Federal Lands Initiative and make sure priorities align with the needs of the housing market, so extra government buildings can be developed or renovated, increasing housing supply and lowering prices. Je suis fier d'annoncer aujourd'hui un plan en 4 points pour que plus de Canadiens et Canadiennes puissent devenir propriétaires. Premièrement, un nouveau gouvernement conservateur va modifier le test de résistance pour assurer que les acheteurs d'une première propriété peuvent avoir une hypothèque. De nombreux experts reconnaissent que le test de stress va trop loin, empêchant de nombreux propriétaires potentiels de le devenir. Nous allons le revoir pour assurer qu'il n'est pas un obstacle. Et comme le test de stress n'est pas un obstacle seulement pour les acheteurs d'une première propriété, nous allons travailler avec le bureau de surintendant des institutions financières pour supprimer le test sur le renouvellement des hypothèques. Deuxièmement, pour les acheteurs d'une première propriété, nous allons augmenter les périodes d'amortissement maximales sur les hypothèques assurées à 30 ans. De plus longues périodes d'amortissement vont permettre de réduire les paiements et d'économiser plus pour la dette étudiante, la famille, les factures mensuelles et la retraite. Troisièmement, nous allons faire enquête sur le blanchiment d'argent dans le secteur immobilier et travailler avec nos partenaires pour supprimer les pratiques corrompues. Ces transactions louches augmentent les prix sur les marchés déjà chers, comme ici dans la grande région de Toronto ainsi qu'à Vancouver. Et finalement, nous allons rendre les terrains fédéraux en surplus disponibles pour le développement immobilier. Nous allons revoir l'initiative des terrains fédéraux et assurer que les priorités répondent aux besoins du marché immobilier. Ainsi, des édifices et des terrains fédéraux pourront être développés ou rénovés, augmentant l'offre d'habitation et baissant les prix. We understand that housing is not just important to you personally, but also to the economic well-being of the whole country. We will not put our economy at risk by introducing policies that weaken the housing market. We will protect your home and its value. And we will continue to support first-time homebuyers by making it easier for them to purchase a home and afford it in the long term. That is why we also announced that a new Conservative government will provide much needed relief to homeowners with a green homes tax credit. To help you pay for these renovations, we will provide a 20% refundable tax credit for renovation costs between $1,000 and $20,000. That can save you up to $3,800 a year on home renovations. And our universal tax cut, which is worth up to $850 for a couple, along with other affordability measures, will help young Canadians save for a down payment. Now, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals have made it harder for you to buy a home, and if he's given 4 more years, it will only become more difficult. He will continue to hurt your bottom line. His carbon tax will go up, raising the price of gas by 31 cents a litre and adding $1,151 to your household expenses, including $469 a year for natural gas. And his overspending, his debt, and never-ending deficits will force him to raise other taxes even higher. I believe Canada should be a place where no dream is out of reach, where home ownership is within the reach of all tax-paying, hard-working Canadians. The 4-point plan I've announced today, which includes fixing the mortgage stress test, increasing the amortization periods on insured mortgages, launching an inquiry into money laundering in the real estate sector, and making surplus federal buildings available for development, will bring that dream closer to reality for the millions of Canadians who have been priced out of the market by Justin Trudeau's bad policies and poor judgment. Le 21 octobre, vous avez le choix entre un premier ministre qui augmente le coût de la vie, minant votre situation financière et met la propriété domiciliaire hors de portée, et un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui a un vrai plan pour vous aider à améliorer votre quotidien, mettre plus d'argent dans vos poches pour que vous ayez la vie que vous voulez. On October 21st, you have a choice between a prime minister who has increased your cost of living, hurt your bottom line, and put home ownership out of reach, and a new Conservative government that has a real plan to help you get ahead, to put more money in your pocket so you can build the life that you want. Thank you. Merci. Happy to take your questions now.
Kelly Malone, the Canadian Press. So Stats Can reported earlier this year that the Canadians are taking on more and more debt in the form of mortgages. The former Conservative government brought down the amortization period specifically to address this problem. Why are you reversing course?
Well, it's clear that the longer amortization period for first-time homeowners will allow more Canadians to purchase a home. That is something that first-time home buyers have asked for. It's something that we've heard feedback from so many different stakeholders. It is important that we have strong regulations around the financial sector to ensure that that our housing industry and our mortgage industry is strong and robust. But we believe that for first-time home buyers, 30-year amortization period is appropriate. Young first-time homebuyers often have their highest earning years ahead of them, and so as they get promoted and as their incomes go up, they'll be able to carry the mortgages that they've gotten into.
En français?
Oui, c'est clair que d'avoir une période d'amortissement de 30 ans va rendre disponibles les maisons pour beaucoup des Canadiens jeunes qui veulent acheter leur maison pour la première fois. Et c'est clair que pour les jeunes familles, les jeunes couples, leurs années avec le revenu plus haut et dans l'avenir, alors ils peuvent gérer leur hypothèque.
Clarity, when the measures were brought in, said it was to cause stability in the market. You mentioned that you would have safeguards. How will you keep the housing market stable?
Well, the key here is that we're going to fix the stress test. We're going to ensure that the stress test does what it's supposed to do without the unintended negative consequences. For example, in the last few years, the percentage of Canadians who are using unregulated private lenders has gone from 6% to 10%. And that means that they're often paying much higher interest rates because they're unable to get mortgages through traditional banking systems. So clearly, there are some unintended negative consequences that we want to address with this review of the stress test.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. JP Tasker from CBC News. I noticed in your announcement there's nothing on a foreign speculator tax or any sort of measures to curb bulk buying by non-Canadians. Why have you left foreign speculator tax off the table?
The key here is if we're looking at the types of practices that have a negative impact on housing prices, our focus here today is on the money laundering aspect of it. This is something that governments across the country have contemplated, including the British Columbian government. We believe that this will help get to the bottom of some of the shady practices that are going on. Many of that money does come from overseas, and this type of national inquiry will allow us to get to the bottom of it and to propose the types of changes that we'll need to address it.
And what about the Liberals' first-time home buyer incentive? Will you scrap that?
We look the that policy is like so many other of Justin Trudeau's policies, not as advertised. So many Canadians will not be eligible for it. It won't have a real impact on the ability for young couples to get into the housing market. And at the end of the day, the government owns part of your home and benefits from the sale of that down the road. Our policy will make housing more affordable for Canadians. We have a real plan, and we will actually follow through on it. Unlike Justin Trudeau, who just always breaks his promises after the election. Oui. Le plan de Justin Trudeau n'est pas un vrai plan, c'est pas ce qu'il prétendait d'être. Beaucoup la grande majorité des jeunes Canadiens ne sont pas, ne peut pas accéder à ce plan. C'est pas un vrai plan et notre plan aujourd'hui qu'on annonce est un vrai plan pour les nouveaux, les jeunes Canadiens qui achetaient leur maison pour la première fois.
Mr. Scheer, Michael Couture from Global National. Global News has found that the former head of a U.S. neo-Nazi group and the former Soldier of Odin member were among those whose signatures were submitted to Elections Canada last year to officially register the People's Party of Canada. Does this give you another reason to ask for Mr. Bernier to not be in this debate now?
Well, of course, I absolutely condemn those individuals and anyone who promotes messages of hate or intolerance. They clearly have no place in our society or in our public discourse. The decision, the criteria was for the debates were designed by the Liberals without consultation from the other parties. It's really up to the Liberal government to explain. I'm looking forward to debating Justin Trudeau. That's what my focus is on. He ran away from the first debate. I'm hoping he shows up for the next one, but I'll be ready for that opportunity to contrast my real plan to help Canadians get ahead with his failed policies of higher taxes and less affordable living. Oui, alors j'ai absolument condamné les personnes ou les groupes qui promotent les idées de haine ou d'intolérance. C'est au le gouvernement libéral d'expliquer leurs critères pour les débats. Justin Trudeau n'était pas là pour le premier débat. J'espère, j'ai hâte qu'il va être là pour le prochain et je suis prêt pour lui débattre.
Just let him go by. With all due respect, my question was about Mr. Bernier. Can you please answer the question? Do you think that Mr. Bernier should be removed from the debate given these revelations?
Well, again, it's really up to the Liberal government to explain the criteria. They were the ones that said it. I absolutely condemn groups that promote hate and intolerance and spread these types of hateful ideologies. The Liberal government set the criteria. The Liberal government established this debates commission. It's really up to them to explain to explain the outcomes of it.
Louis Blouin de Radio-Canada. Monsieur Scheer, le Parti conservateur et le Parti libéral ciblent les mêmes électeurs, les parents, les familles, les mêmes thèmes aussi. On a un exemple encore ce matin, l'accès à la propriété, l'imposition aussi dans la première tranche de revenus. Ma question, c'est comment vous allez réussir à vous distinguer pour que les électeurs soient vraiment capables de tracer une démarcation claire entre vos deux partis?
Mais c'est tellement facile parce que Justin Trudeau a brisé ses promesses. Justin Trudeau a menti. Il dit les choses qui ne sont pas vraies. Alors, les Canadiens ne peuvent pas avoir confiance dans les promesses que Justin Trudeau dit pendant cette campagne. Notre plan pour aider les contribuables, c'est un vrai plan. Ça va réduire les impôts pour la majorité des Canadiens avec l'income, le revenu moyen. Et on va tenir nos promesses. Pour quelques politiques, il a copié-collé mes propres idées, de rendre les bénéfices pour les nouveaux parents. Ça, c'est une idée conservateur. Justin Trudeau a voté contre cette idée dans la Chambre des communes. Alors, c'est clair que les Canadiens ne peuvent pas avoir confiance dans Justin Trudeau, mais ils peuvent avoir confiance dans moi-même et dans notre parti. Yeah. So it's very easy to have a clear contrast between our plan and the Liberal plan. The Liberal plan is just not as advertised, and people, Canadians understand that Justin Trudeau raised taxes on the middle class. He made life more expensive. He broke his promises, and he has lied to Canadians. So on the question of trust, who do you trust to leave more money in your pockets so you can get ahead? Canadians cannot have trust in Justin Trudeau. On some policies, he's actually copied ideas from me that he voted against in the House of Commons. So he clearly has no plans to implement them. And at the end of the day, Canadians know that the carbon tax will continue to increase and make life more affordable. So if Canadians are looking for a real plan to help them get ahead, they can have confidence in our plan. We will deliver on our promises. They know that Justin Trudeau has not and will not.
Monsieur Trudeau vous a encore comparé à Doug Ford ce matin. C'est quoi la différence entre vous et Doug Ford, Monsieur Scheer?
Mais on va avoir notre propre plan, nos propres idées, nos propres politiques pour les Canadiens. Le vraie question, c'est quoi la différence entre Kathleen Wynne et Justin Trudeau? Les mêmes architectes le bilan désastreux de Kathleen Wynne et Dalton McGuinty maintenant travaillent pour Justin Trudeau et ils suivent le même plan. Alors, c'est clair pour les électeurs en Ontario, notre plan va rendre la vie plus abordable, laisser plus d'argent dans leur poche. Ça, c'est clair. So, the big difference, the real question is what's the difference between Kathleen Wynne and Justin Trudeau? The very same people who are the architects of the failed Kathleen Wynne, Dalton McGuinty government that raised taxes, ran massive deficits, mired in scandal and corruptions, are now working for Justin Trudeau, and they're following the same playbook. So voters in Ontario know that they can limit the damage from Justin Trudeau to one term, and they can elect a Conservative government that will lower taxes, protect our public institutions and our public programs like healthcare and education, and make life more affordable so they can get ahead.
Christy Kirkup with the Globe and Mail. Just to follow up on what you just said about Kathleen Wynne, your party recently released an advertisement aimed at her. Aren't people going to get confused about whether this is a provincial election versus a federal election?
I think Canadians are quite clear in the contrast this election. They see Justin Trudeau, who is mired in scandal and corruption, who has lied to Canadians, who has lost the confidence of Canadians because he just simply cannot tell the truth. He continues on a daily basis to not be able to come clean with Canadians. And they see in myself a leader who is ready to make life more affordable, to cut their taxes, to return to balanced budgets over a responsible period of time. The choice between the two parties and the two leaders in this election could not be more clear, and I'm convinced that Canadians see that and will vote Conservative on October 21st.
But Mr. Trudeau is not campaigning against the Premier, and you're not campaigning against Kathleen Wynne. So why make that the central focus of your message to Ontarians?
I think it's important for people in Ontario to know that Justin Trudeau will follow and has been following the exact same playbook that Kathleen Wynne and Dalton McGuinty ran here in Ontario. Voters here understand what happens when you let Liberals continue their corrupt ways, continue to run massive deficits, continue to break their promises and lie to the people that they're elected to serve. And I believe that on October 21st, the voters in Ontario and across the country will limit the damage of Justin Trudeau's government to one term.
Cheryl Even with CPAC. Mr. Scheer, here in King Vaughan, transportation congestion is already a real major problem. Your plan that you've just outlined talks about, making it easier for new builds and new developments. What is your government going to do to, help alleviate that problem?
That's an excellent question. We will have more to say throughout the campaign about ensuring that infrastructure dollars follow through on being linked to new developments, that new housing markets can come onto the market. New housing developments can come onto the market, and that the infrastructure projects to help people move from where they live to where they work go along with it. In addition, things like the public transit tax credit that we've announced will make taking public transit more affordable for so many people, and that will help alleviate congestion as well. And we will have more to say on specific infrastructure projects, both here in the GTA and around the country, that will help address that.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Joyce Napier, CTV. So I'm wondering why, despite the troubles the Liberal campaign has had in the past week and the scandal this winter, how come you're still neck and neck with the Liberal candidate?
Well, I believe that Canadians will see the clear contrast between a scandal-plagued Liberal government led by someone who can't tell the truth and breaks his promises, and our real plan to make life more affordable. I don't get too worried about the polls. There's only one poll that matters. That's on October 21st. I can tell you our candidates are telling us that the response at the doors is fantastic. We're getting more volunteers out this election than we did in the last election. We've got campaigns all across the country where 2 or 3 years ago, people were writing us off, and we are going to win those seats. We're going to surprise a lot of people on October 21st. I've been underestimated my entire political career, and I can tell you that I'm very happy with the way the campaign is going. Our plan is resonating. People are getting excited about our policies, our tax cuts, and what we're going to do for them. And I'm quite confident about the results on October 21st. Oui, il y a seulement 11 sondages qui comptent. Ça, c'est le sondage le 21 octobre. Je suis très content avec notre campagne et notre candidat a dit que les réponses à l'époque, c'est merveilleux. Nous avons plus de bénévoles qu'on a eu dans les dernières élections et je suis très confiant dans pour les résultats le 21 octobre.
Morning, Mr. Scheer. Evan Dyer, CBC News. As my colleagues mentioned, Prime Minister Trudeau mentioned Doug Ford actually 15 times in his speech this morning, and he said that his model of cuts to health in Ontario would be the model that you would follow. So to respond to that, do you intend to cut healthcare, and do you intend to bring in some kind of a universal pharmacare plan?
So it's quite clear that I'm ready to run against Justin Trudeau. I am holding Justin Trudeau to account, and he is desperate to run against anybody other than me. I have made the commitment that we will only increase transfers to healthcare and education by at least 3%. That means that Canadians can have confidence that their healthcare systems will be there to give them the services that they need. I've made the commitment to do the same for social transfers so that programs like education will continue to go up. Justin Trudeau continues to lie about what Conservatives will do. He continues to lie about what he has done and what he will do. Canadians know that they cannot believe anything that comes out of his mouth. He will literally say anything to try to distract from his record of scandal and corruption. We have a Prime Minister who is the subject of RCMP inquiries into whether or not he obstructed justice, to whether or not he interfered in a criminal prosecution case. That is a very serious condemnation on his record as Prime Minister. So it's not surprising that he's desperate to change the channel and shift the focus from his own disastrous record.
And on universal pharmacare?
Well, I mean, this is a promise that Liberals have made since I was a teenager, and they had had one of the ministers from Kathleen Wynne's failed government design the proposal. Canadians know that this will cost billions and billions of dollars. None of his plans are costed, no details. He's clearly unable to explain to Canadians how he would implement any of these things, and so once again, Canadians cannot have confidence in what he's proposing. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Thanks very much.